My notepad, right? And
Yeah, yeah,
everybody
you
else
can.
there. Yeah,
Yep. You can.
just a minute. I will share with my Viber and then I download from here.
Yeah. So now you can mute yourself. You're doing right. I hope I'm live on all the different platforms that we are watching. So guys, please do comment. Whether you can hear me and everything on wherever platform you guys are watching me, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn. And with that said, if I am audible, if everybody can hear me, let me welcome you all again to another new free live class that we are doing for you guys for absolutely free, being organized by your favorite cloud learning platform, K21 Academy, where you learn from the experts. Today, we're bringing you something new, something outside of the basics things, of the things that you already like. Today, we're bringing you something new, something that you will inherently enjoy if you're somebody who likes learning something new. So today we are here with us, a very credible, very already experienced coach. Uh, Whoever is unmute from my team right now, could you please mute yourself? I can hear some background noise, so please mute yourself. Anybody who's unmute right now. Okay. With that said, guys, today we are here to discuss data analytics, specifically with Power BI, one of the most powerful data analytics and data visualization tools. So today you'll be getting a very brief introduction of that tool. So we'll be going live in 8 minutes or something, a little over 8 minutes. So guys, go ahead, ask all of the friends that you have that are interested in data science, data analytics, data visualization to join this live. They cannot miss the chance of joining this live. Okay, so I'm gonna mute myself and I'll meet with you guys again in the next 8 minutes or so. So make sure you are here. Hit the like button. Tell us how excited you are for this new bite-sized 1 hour session of data analytics that we are organizing at K21 Academy social media platforms. Manoj, please mute me on StreamYard. Hello, everybody. Welcome again. First of all, thank you very much for all the people who have stayed us for these last 8 minutes. Because I was seeing that a few people were leaving, a people were joining. A lot of you guys are already interested. You have filled the comment section, so thank you very much. My name is Shavanshan Thakur. I am your moderator and host for today's session. I hope you guys are ready for this 1 hour of information packed session that we are doing today at K21 Academy for Introduction to Data Analytics. Today we've got a great coach, trainer, we've got a great line of informative content for you. So let's get into it. And for all the people who are going to stay till the end, I've got a surprise for you as well. For all the people who want to take a sneak peek of that surprise, go at this link at k21academy.com /DA 10002. So make sure you do that if you want to take a sneak peek, but I will definitely be picking up all the things that we'll be covering. Okay, so again, this is something that I'll be asking you guys to do as well. So please make sure you're attentive to the session to make sure you are looking at all the things that we are doing, the things that we are doing well, the things we are not doing so well. So you guys can tell us and we can improve ourselves for the next, sessions that we are doing for you guys. Okay, before I start with the session, I want to ask you guys whether you are a beginner, intermediate, or an expert. You know, it's the basic drill at our K21 Academy. We love to know you guys better. So tell me, are you a beginner, intermediate, or an expert at data analytics or data science? Please do mention in the comment section about wherever you guys are watching it, whether it's Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube. Make sure you do it right now. I will be checking all the comments, so you do that right now. Okay, this is something that I wanted to, highlight before we get into it. So on very soon, on maybe 28th of August, we are launching our Microsoft Data Analyst Associate DA 100. It's a program for all those people who want to get to the next level in terms of their data analytics career as a data analyst. This is a must certification for you. There are 13 modules, 30 plus lessons, 12 hands-on labs, 100 plus exam questions, and CV prep, and on-job support, which is, to be honest, my favorite function of all the courses we offer at K21 Academy. So there's a lot. We start with module number one. So every time we are bringing you something, we are expecting or having one thing in mind, that all of you guys are very beginners, and we started from there. So if you are maybe an intermediate or an expert, you get your basics, refurbished. You get them fresh in your mind. And for all the people who are starting out new, we start with very basic, so you guys can understand that as well. So we start at get start with Microsoft Data Analytics, and if you're gonna see, there is a lab dedicated. There's a dedicated lab for all of them. We cover everything from the introduction to preparing data in BI, cleaning, transforming, and loading data in Power BI, designing a data model. Then similarly, we optimize model performance, create reports, create dashboards. Everything will be covering into that, so that by the end of this particular learning program, you are ready to become a Microsoft Certified Data Analyst Associate, which is a 2-star certification. So there are a total of 12 hands-on labs. We do anything from as basic as preparing data in Power BI desktop to creating and managing entire workspaces, which is actually a very professional skill that today in this date I personally use on Power BI, work on Power BI as well for my job. So this is very important. This is what you actually do in the industry while you're working. So this is what I was talking about. There's 100 plus sample exam Q&As, which are constantly being updated as well. So this actually helps you to get out of it. There are too many series out there. We always talk about it, how to keep get your CV stand out. But with this program, we also help you to make that CV that helps you stand out from the crowd as well. So there's a lot to be covered. To be honest, I don't want to do it in the start. I am just running through it, and we'll be covering maybe in the upcoming sessions. Maybe I'll go in a little depth. Maybe in the middle. Maybe at the end. So I'm just So this is very possible. Whenever we are talking about that, I always say, like we everybody say, no matter how beginner you are, maybe how many times you have failed, once you start putting in the effort, start putting in the time, start putting in the that hard work with all the hands-on labs that we are doing, all the theory lectures we are doing, sooner or later you are going to get the certification to your name, and you will have that shining badge on your resume as well. So we personally at K21 Academy look forward to that day when you come to us and you send us a picture of your certification like this. So let me introduce you of today's trainer. We have with us Mr. Karthik. He has got more than 10 plus years of experience in various business intelligence softwares using SQL servers, monitoring and tuning SQL server performance. He's also a Microsoft certified trainer, and he's also a Microsoft certified data analyst. So I mean, the credibility cannot ever be questioned when it's a Microsoft certified trainer already. So I mean, I am very lucky. I think that I'm able to host this session because I also get to learn more things about Power BI, and I hope you guys are ready for that as well. So everybody, so welcome Harish, welcome Dinesh, welcome Scott, everybody, welcome wherever you guys are watching it on YouTube, Facebook, wherever you guys are watching it. Welcome Stephen. Okay, this is the free gift. So everybody who stays till the end will get it. That is my promise. That is Shivanshin Thakur's promise. So everybody who is at the end of the session, I'll take an attendance because I have asked you guys about whether you're a beginner. So you have commented down below. So I'm gonna see who I'm gonna ask a question at the end as well. So whoever is gonna comment that answer over there as well, whether it's a right or wrong question, it's not something like that. But I'll ask something, and people who are still there from the start till the end will get this free gift. Okay, before that, for all the people who are watching us on YouTube, maybe LinkedIn or Facebook, go ahead, subscribe right now onto our YouTube channel because, like these lives, you might not get an email notification, you might not get something else, you might miss it. But if you are a subscriber on our YouTube channel, you'll get the notification that K21 Academy is going live, and you guys can join instantly, and your learning curve won't be hampered by that. Hello, Neha. We are more than we are thankful to you as well for taking the time off to progress in your career journey. So welcome again. Welcome Stephen. Welcome Vinny. Everybody. Now I'm gonna hand it over to our coach for the evening for our training for the evening. Karthik sir, over to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir.
Karthik
I
sir,
am
you'll have to
Karthik,
share your
and
screen.
yeah, please. You can see my screen, right?
Yep. Okay, wait, give me a second. Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you very much, and welcome to all today's sessions. And obviously, this is very excitement. Today, this session we will start from very beginning, and the course which name is D100.
Sir,
This is one of the
really sorry
most
to
popular course,
interrupt you.
most demanding course. Yeah,
Yeah, you
yeah,
can you please hide that that streamer is sharing a screen. It's gonna eventually cover a few things.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Right.
Okay. Fine. Thank you.
So, thank you very much. So, before we start, we can just understand the way how we can start this part of training, because this D100 course is one of the most demanding course in the worldwide, right? And those who are not only for IT, those who are also belong to different IT field or non-IT field, they also enhance this kind of skills and they can use very easily, right? So, this part of training we start very beginning with module 1. So I will first share my screen with one notepad and hope you can see my screen, right? This is one of the notepad, right? So I am Karthik and you can see my screen, and this is the course name is D100 analyzing data with Power BI. So anyone can reply, you can see my screen. Yeah.
Yes, sir. We
So
can see it.
yeah, thank you very much. So when we start this first part of day of this training, so we start about getting started with Microsoft Data Analytics. So obviously, once you go for any kind of powerful tool like it's advanced analytics tool, some of the reporting tool, you first understand the way how we can use the things, why we need this kind of things, some of the basic things, because each time we have a no some of the organizations we provide the training, so some of the guys are IT and some of coming from non-IT, right? So we start from very beginning, from the sketch, right? So how can we start this part of training? So simply, you can see this is name of the course. This is 300 analyzing data with Power BI, and we have a total number of modules in this training. This is total number of module, we can say 13 as per the Microsoft, right? But today we start only the one things. This is module number 1, and we here for you. So the module 1 name is getting started with Microsoft Data Analytics. So before we go for this module, what we will learn, we understand about exactly what is Power BI, right? And before Power BI, we understand also the BI. This is BI means business intelligence. What is BI? Why we need BI? All things. Then we go for very beginning about data. What is data? How can we classify the data? And why we what kind of sources we have, because sometimes we can connect Power BI with multiple sources, right? Maybe structure, unstructured, or semi-structure. So we also include in this kind of presentations. Then we go for why we need Power BI, right? So these things we can use with PPTs, right? So after this, we can go for some of the basic things like what is Power BI tools, how can we use some things like what is Power BI components, and what kind of components we can use, how can we apply all things. And then we go for Power BI architecture, right? So these are very basic things we can cover in this part of module. So before going to this Power BI things, we just understand the way why we use these things. So let's we start with very beginning, BI, and this is what? This is obviously business intelligence, right? So if I ask questions, what is business intelligence? Maybe from 5 people, 10 people, each one can give different answer. Somebody related to business, somebody related to some of analytics, somebody give visualization, somebody can give answer like we can transform data into some valuable informations, right? So maybe there are so many way, but the objective of this BI, we can say this BI purpose of uh, to using this is only the way to support better decision making. Very simple, right? So when we go for this BI, we can use better decisions. So without data, you can't do any kind of decisions, or you can't do any kind of analytics, right? So for BI, we can say this BI is one of the decision support system which help to analyze the data, or we can say some provide actionable informations, right? So this BI generally used by some of the business managers, corporate executives, and some of the other users who are daily need to make some decisions very frequently, right? So we can say BI refer to the application, some of the technologies, or we can say some of the practice for collection, analysis, integrations, and we can say some of the way where we can present some business information, right? So the finally the purpose of BI is what? To support better decisions making. I give you one example. Suppose I am running one of my business, like I have a one superstore, and this superstore I am running from last 5 years. I have a multiple countries and multiple cities. I am running this my business. This is superstore, but last 1 year or 2 year, I'm not getting so much profit as per my expectation, right? So now how can I analyze my data? How can I increase my profit? So obviously what I do, I simply go for each and every state of my business, maybe some of the countries, city, some of the branch, and I identify, okay, what is the reasons where I'm not getting the profit. So how can I increase my profit? Should I will increase my promotions there, I want to increase my staff there, I want to increase some of the uh, we can say some of the more investment there, right? So what can I do? I just simply analyze the data. I analyze what is the reason where I'm not getting the profit, and how can I increase my profit, right? So we can take some decisions, and this better decision is obviously one of the example of BI, right? So sometimes this BI we can use for interchange, like for reports or tools for executive information system, right? So this is the very basic things. And if we see why we need BI, so obviously some of the way where we can improve decisions making, for fast answer the some of the queries, right? We can also reduce some of the risk, and we also define some of the way where we can define some business in more better way. So this is the way we can use BI. So before giving to presentations as a PPT, I simply take your 5 minutes and just give the very basic introductions about data and some of the things which is very very important for this part of training, right? So as you are very familiar with this data, but I will simply give you descriptions. So what is data, right? We can say data is a collection of facts such as some of the numbers, some of the descriptions, or we can say some of the observations used in obviously some decisions making. So without data we can't do any decisions, right? So we can say this data is what, this number, descriptions, and some of the observations generally we use for decisions making. So we can define data into three way, and we can say classify data into three way. The first we can say is a structured data. So this structured data is what? Simply we have a some data where we have a some tabular data format. So tabular data format means what? Uh, Somebody for non-IT, so no issue. We have a RDBMS structure. This is what? This is relational database management system. So when we're talking about structured data, means we have a relational database management system. Means we have some tables, we have some, or we can say in easy words, we have some rows, or we can say some of columns, right? So this kind of structure where we have some kind of relationship, right? Each data we can relate to each other, right? So this kind of structure we call as a structured data, right? And we can manage this kind of structured data using some of these servers, maybe this including some SQL server, right? Or maybe use some Oracle, maybe we can use some of the DB2, or we can use MySQL. There is so many things, right? So this is the one of the category. And second, we have a semi-structured data. This is semi-structured data, and in this way we can simply define the data, but the data is not in we can say not exactly in tabular format, right? We can recite data in some of the structure, or some of the way we can redefine the data. So semi-structured data, we can say that there is no relationship, or there is no relational database, but still we can define some structure, right? So include some of the documents like JSON. This is JavaScript object notations format, right? We can also use some of the cases like where we have some key value stores, some of the graph database, right? So this kind of data we also call structured data, and we can define like some of the CSV file, some of like Excel file, some of JSON format, right? Some of we can define as a key value, where we can store some of the values, or we can say some of the graph databases like as a Facebook. So we have some nodes there and some of the edges there, right? So these nodes we can represent some of the object, or edges we can represent some of the relationship between the objects, right? So this kind of structure we call as a semi structure. And finally we have a unstructured data. So we can define unstructured data as, we can say, the data which are coming from multiple sources. We can say data which is used in any format, right? Maybe we have a log files, maybe we have a text file, right? We can say some audio, some videos, some audio clips, images, whatever, right? All things we can use. So this is very big size, right? So this category we call as a structure. We can use simply big data, or some of the way like Hadoop or Hive we can manage, right? So because when we go for Power BI, the data coming from maybe some of the SQL server, maybe Oracle, maybe CSV, maybe Excel, or maybe text, audio, video, anything, right? So these are very basic things you will be required to understand very beginning, right? So this is very basic things, and when we go for this data, obviously we want to require to understand some of the way how can we processing the data, what is the way where we can use some traditional system, all things, right? So let's no issue, we go for our presentations. I will give you some of the way how can we use the things very easily. So you can see my screen, and in this way we can understand about what is BI. This is very basic things. I already give you the some of the part of intro. Then why we need BI? Obviously, without BI, you can't do any kind of very better decisions, right? So then we go for data analytics part. So here we understand the very beginning things about data analytics. What is data analytics? Some of the capabilities. How can we define some of the categories? All things. Then we go for why we need Power BI and what is Power BI. So before understand Power BI, you will be required to understand this very basic concept which is related to BI as well as analytics. Then we go for Power BI, right? So this Power BI is obviously most demanding tool and advanced analytics tool. So before we going this practical approach for Power BI, this is first module where we understand some more concept like what is Power BI tools, how can we use some of the components and architecture of Power BI, right? So let's we go. So you can see this is showing what is BI. This is business intelligence, and I already explained you the way where we use this BI. So this BI just as a data driven decision support system, right? So when we use this BI is simply taking some of the raw data from the any data source, maybe structure and unstructured or semi-structure, and we transform this data into some of the usable data, some of the meaningful data, some of the meaningful insights, right? So we can finally what we can finally produce some of the report, right? And this report obviously informative graphics for the data analysis, right? So this BI just referred the applications, right? Some of the applications, some of the technologies where we can do some of the analysis, some of the integrations, and we present some of the business informations, right? So graphically, if we talking about the presenting part of tabular data, so we also define as data visualizations where we define the sum of the data in terms of chart, graphs, maps, etc., right? And we define or we can create some valuable insights, right, from this report. So when you have some data and you want to define this data into some of the trends, some of the visualizations is more effective, right? So as this Power BI tools developed by Microsoft, so we use this BI and data visualization capability. We can say BI is a one of the best thing where we can use or we can define the way where we can implement this kind of things for making some of the decisions making, for real time analysis, quick navigations. We can also reduce some of the risk, right? So the next slide showing why we need BI. So first we understand the BI, then we understand why we need BI. So very simple. You can see this topic when by one. So obviously when we have some decisions, how can we improve? Because in organizations in real time we have so many complicated problem there, some of the complex issue there. How can we take some decisions to grow fast? Because in this competitor market we have so many competition, right? So how can you make some data very effectively? How can you take decisions very fast? So this BI use improve overall the part of company, right? Improve the data, improve the part of some of the profitability. So we can say this BI can translate their collected data into insight their business processors, right? So we can say when we require this BI, we can use some potentials, like we can use how to deriving some new revenues, how can we increase some operational efficiency, right? We can also define the way how to give the fast answer to any business queries. Obviously if you have some solutions, you have some data, you have some way where you already analyze some data, so you can give some more advanced way, right? So we can say it is the gaining a competitive advantage over business rivals. So it support what? It supports some of the business problems that need to be addressed. So we can say it's also very useful for some of the real-time analysis where we want to take some quick navigations. We identified some of the cross sellings and some of the upselling opportunities. So this BI is not only give the way where we can only use to create some of the business decisions, right? We also define some of the way where we have identified some cross sellings and upselling opportunities, right? And on behalf of this, we can grow our business, right? And we can also reduce the sum of the risk for bottlenecks, and we help to know which business is better for tomorrow, for future, right? So these are very basic things, and we understand why we need BI, right? So now the part of this analytics we can start. So this part of analytics, you can see when we go for data analytics, this is what? This is the way, or this is the process of exploring and analyzing large data sets to make predictions, right? Or we can say help data driven decisions making. So this data analytics, you can see we can use some of the way. So we can define this data analytics is a process of inspecting, cleaning, transforming, and modeling data with the goal of discovering useful information, right? Because we have a raw data, we have a raw informations. We want to convert this information into some meaningful informations. We want to produce some meaningful reports, right? So we can suggesting some conclusions. We also defining some decisions making. So as a part of this Gartner definitions is defined, this is leverage data in a particular functional process, maybe applications, maybe some of the other things. So we can to define some specific insight that is actionable, right? So in simple words, we can say this data analytics gather some of the insight, generate some reports, perform some market analysis, or improve business requirements, right? So we can say this is the very basic things where we use this kind of analytics. So when we go for this data visuals part, or when we go for some of the context of data dashboard, or some of the graphical representations, we also define those things very easily. So why we need this data analytics? In the simple words, we can say when we require some gather hidden insight, when we require some generate reports, when we perform some market analysis, or when we require to improve business requirements. So these are some of the factors we can say we use this. This is the data analytics, right? So this data analytics we can say is some of the way, or we can say refer to the techniques to analyze data to enhance productivity and business gain obviously. So once we go for some of the data parts where we use some of the data which is coming from different sources, maybe some of the input sources, some of the images, some of the retail store, some of the sensor data, some of the text files, some of the social media, whatever, right? Because data coming from different source, and I already explained you, maybe from structure, unstructure, or semi-structure. So when we collect data, when we analyze data, right? So the part of transformation, the part of cleaning, the part of shaping the data, the part of all data we want to just want to transform, right? So how to analyze data? When you analyze your data, we can create a report, right? So the part of reporting we will be done when we have some data sets and we have some tables, right? So this data journey is showing some of the way how can we define some of the way where we can define some of the analytics, right? So let's we go for the types of data analytics. You can see the overview of data analytics. So this data analytics, obviously we define some of the way where we can understand the types of analytics like is descriptive, diagnostic, predictive, prescriptive, and cognitive. So simply we can majorly use this four ones, right? So I just give you a very quick overview how can we define each and everything, right? So when we go for this descriptive, you can see we simply define the one of the question answer like what happened in my business. You can see this is one of the first category. This is data analytics. So descriptive, so we can summarize raw data from multiple sources. Let's we want to extract some of the meaningful insight, and we just drawing some of the interpretation for some of the past event, right? So when we require the sum of data, we can use some of the visualization. So let's we do one example or one of the scenario like generally I want to use some of the e-learning website and decide what kind of course is most trending, right? Let's we take Power BI. This is one of the most demanding course, right? So how can you understand the way? So according to analysis of search volume, some of the course content, some of the users, some of the revenue, all things we can define some of the last few months, last last 6 months, right? And according to this we can define, okay, what happened with my business. So I just define the way, right? So this data analytics part for first descriptive is just summarize your raw data from the multiple sources, and we can give the answer of the questions what happened in my particular business, right? The same things we can define for next category. We have a diagnostic. So the diagnostic means we can understand one of the questions, why it has happened in my business, or we can say why did it happen. So let's we go for in detail. So when we drilling down some of the data or identifying the some of the problems, how can I identify? So obviously sometimes I want to require some of the answer of my questions, like why an issue occurred in my examining data to know the cause behind the problem. Means simple the way, suppose I am running one of my company, and my company have a multiple branches and cities, multiple country and cities. So from last few months, my sales is down. My company sales is down for a month. So I want to diagnose the problem and show what is the reasons, right? So we can define, okay, some of the reasons, employee quitting their jobs and they want to they want to switch out. So obviously my sales team is not working proper, and on behalf of this I'm not getting the profit, right? So this is the thing. So why it happened in my business, I just answering the questions why an issue occurred by examining some of data, and we just define the cause behind the problem. This is what, this is diagnostic. Very easy, right? Then we go for predictive. So this predictive is the one of the way where can we define the questions, answer what will happen in future based on past trends. What will happen in the future based on past trends. So we can say this predicting define the some of the future trends and some of the possibilities in market based on some of the current events, right? So we can say it's helped to optimize some of the business plans or some of the way where can we can increase, or we can define like what will be the future revenue for my sales or my particular department, right? So some of historical patterns we can being used, and we specify what specific outcomes we can define some of the algorithm. So let's we take an example. Suppose some of the times if you see your TV channel, so we have some recommendations like Netflix or some of the other sources. So we can define how can we use this Netflix for recommend some of the episodes, some of the movies, some of the way where we can define how to analyze some of the content watched by the audience according to all global areas, right? So we'll provide the predictions or some upcoming events or some upcoming shows and content, and must be show like different classes of audience. So we can define, okay, this kind of particular audience will be interested for this kind of categories, maybe for entertainment, maybe for like some of the just genius world of record, some of the other things, right? So this is just way where we can define what will be happen in the future based on some of the trends or past trends, right? And finally we have a, this is prescriptive. So where we understand the way what should be done for achieve my specific goals or other things. So this prescriptive generally define the way like when we involve uh, some of the steps to remove some of the future problems, or we define some of the predict how can we use some of the AI or some of the big data for doing some kind of things very easily, right? So the common scenario like for this prescriptive, like if we have data analytics, just one of the like Google Map, and we want to require which is the best route for considering my distance, some of the traffic constraint, right? Some of the other factors. So we can use. So what should I be done, right? This is one of the very basic example for this prescriptive. So we can say this is some of the data analytics capabilities generally we can use for make some decision support and actions, right? So now we have some very basic things where we understand the roles of the data. So some of the roles you can see, this is BA, data analyst, this is data engineer, data scientist, and DBA. So BA is the one of the basic roles, and this role is only responsible to gathering some of the requirement from the business users, from the stakeholders, right? So some of the business users or some of the stakeholders who want to give some of the specific requirements, so this BA is responsible to gathering requirements, to make some documentations, to make some DFT or some of the use cases, and they make some documentation and deliver to some of the developers. So developer according to their documentations make some code and define some of the next way, right? So this BA is only responsible for gathering initially requirement for design the system, right? And when we go for this data analyst, this is one of the very basic and very popular role, right? So when we go for this data analyst role are, we can say, responsible for profiling, cleaning, and transforming the data, right? So this kind of responsibility including some of designing and building some of the data models, and how to enabling and how to implement some of the advanced analytics, right, for reporting or some of the analysis purpose. So we can say a data analyst works some of the like some of the stakeholders and some of the way where there are some necessary way how to fulfill the reporting requirement, and how can we just make data, make just turn data into some of the meaningful informations, right? So we can say this data analyst is responsible for management of Power BI assets, or including some report, dashboard, or some of the workspaces, right? So this is work defined by the data analyst. Then we go for data engineer. So this data engineer, one of the advanced role we can say. So it's generally set up some of the data platforms or provisioning some of the on-prem and the cloud platform, right? So how to manage, how to secure the flow structure, and how to define some structure and structured data from multiple sources. So all kind of relational databases, non-relational databases, data streaming, file stores, all kind of works defined by the data engineer. So the primary responsibility of data engineers, what they use on-prem data and some of the cloud data services, and ingest, ingress, and transform data from multiple sources. So we can say data engineer is, this is the one of the responsible persons who collaborate with some of the business stakeholders, or we can say just identify some of the data requirement, right? Very easy. And when we go for data scientist, this is one of the role, and this is one of the advanced analytics roles, which is extract value from the data. So this data scientist work with some of the descriptive or predictive analytics, and they also work with some of the machine learning. They also apply some of the patterns, some of the customized algorithm. So finally they provide some solutions. They want to they also provide some of the way how to solve the problem with some of the customized algorithm, right? So this is one of the role, this is data scientist. And finally we have a DBA, this is database administrator. So this database administrator responsible for overall availability, we can say, for the performance, for optimizations, for the database solutions. So we can say this DBA just makes some policies, tools, and process data backups and recovery plans. So this database administrator, we can say, monitor overall the health of database, right? As well as they also provide some of the access, some of the granting and restricting the users how to use the different databases, right? And how to perform or transform or validate or cleaning the data with some business requirements. So these are very basic roles which is related to data, right? So as I use this first module, we have understand the very basic things, about the data. So you can see the same way here we can define the task of data analyst. So we already define the role of data analyst. So on behalf of this, we can define how to prepare the data. So prepare including what? How to get data, how to transform data, how to cleaning data, and finally how to transform data. So once you transform your data, we load data into where? On Power BI desktop. So once your data in Power BI desktop, we have a tables, but we want to require modeling there. So modeling is just make a relationship between the tables. So this modeling defines some cardinality, how to create some of the relationship like one to one, one to many, many to many. And on behalf of this modeling, we also make some of the hierarchies, how to create folders, all things. So once you have defined relationship, we can visualize some of the data because we have data sets, we have a relationship, we have a tables. So using this visualizations, using some of the charts or maps, all things, we can create some visualizations. So these visualizations, once you are created, we can analyze some of the patterns, some of the trends. How can we make some of the decisions? How can we take better decisions for growing the business, right? So once you analyze your data with some of the trends or some of the other things, finally, how can we share this data or some of the reports to the some of the workspaces or some of the other sources, some of the teammates, some of the colleagues. So how to manage all things. So these are very basic tasks which is related to data analyst, right? So after doing this kind of data part, now we move to Power BI, right? So the Power BI just show the one of the definitions, like when we go for this Power BI, so it's showing as a one of the way where we define where we have a like collection of software. So software is right what defined here, some of the services, right? So we have a cloud platform, we have some services like as a Google Apps, right? We have Office 365, Google Analytics, right? We also provide some of the services where we can connect multiple sources, right? So we can define the Power BI is a one of the data visualization tools, or we can say BI. This is business intelligence tool, which help to convert data from different data sources, and we can define these data sources into some of the dashboard and reports, right? So when we go for this Power BI, and it provides some of the way where can we use some of the applications, some of the services, some of the apps, some of the different sources. So data coming from different sources, you can say maybe cloud, maybe internet, maybe some of the Excel, some of the SQL, some of the third party. And finally, once we have transformed the data, we can finally load it into Power BI. Then we create report, right? So if you go for some of the books or website, you will find very easily about the definitions of this Power BI, how it's work. So simple way to define is BI is, we can say, this data visualizations tool, and one of the BI tool where we can define some of the way where we can define some services like as a software as a service, some of the mobile apps, some of the different platform, right? And this kind of services we can use to some of times to consume or some data we can want to make, right? So this Power BI takes applications and some Power BI service, all thing we can so define into Power BI tools. We have a separate topic, right? So let's we go for the very basic definitions. So what exactly the definition of Power BI include? So we can say this Power BI is a cloud-based business analysis. So we have a software as a service. This is Power BI service, right? And we can define this intelligence service by the Microsoft. Obviously, this is Microsoft tools. So it's collection of BI as well as data visualizations tools, and just as software services, apps, and data connectors. So we can use this kind of data sets for making some of the reports, dashboard, and apps. And once we have this kind of features, we can simply take very quick decisions, and we use for very easily for any kind of business applications, right? So how can we use this Power BI? So before we go for Power BI and how to use Power BI desktop, how to install Power BI desktop tools, all things, we understand the way, what is the component, and what is this the way, what is the activity flow, right? So once we have a data, we have some data sets, we already defined some modeling, we create some reports, right, on the Power BI desktop. So once you creating your report, and if you want to publish your report online, so we have options publish button. When you publish your report, it's automatically moved to where? On Power BI service. So Power BI service is a cloud platform. This is software as a service, right, where we can edit your Power BI desktop report. We can create dashboard also there. We have some workspaces also there. So once your report is online, if you want to again share your report with some of the business users on their mobiles, like as iOS, Windows, or Android, we can also share, right? So now we go for the very basic things about Power BI tools and how can we use. So initially we have a five tools, and each tools which can be defined with this kind of things. So we have a first Power BI desktop. So this Power BI desktop is one of the primary authoring and we can say publishing tool. So we can create some of the reports, we can create some models, some of the way for designing, right? So this Power BI desktop is free available tool. You can download from Power BI service as well as from the internet, and it's free of cost, right? So in Power BI desktop, we have a visualizations, we have a fields, right? So in the fields and visualizations, we can simply use some of the panels where we can draw some of the charts, right? This is my left navigations where we have some report view, data view, and some of the model view. This is my ribbon where we have multiple functions, right? How can we use to each and everything? So we have a separate module. So how to get data, how can we connect with some of data? We have options there, and we connect more than 80 plus different input sources, right? So how to create some of the inferences chart, how to create some of the stake column chart, how to define some of the tree maps, right? How can we use some of the column chart, some of the waterfall chart, all things. So this Power BI desktop is primary authoring and publishing tool where we create some of the report, right? Now, second, we have a Power BI service. So this Power BI service, this is the one of the cloud platform. We can say software as a service. So on this Power BI service, we can sharing. We can also publish report from the Power BI desktop. So once your report is online, in this Power BI service, we have options. We can edit the report. So if you have a same data set there, when you publish your report, you have a data set and you have a reports there, right? So you can also edit your report here. You can create dashboard here. You can simply export your file into as a PDF or PPTs. You can also share some of the your reports with your teams and colleagues. You can also use some embed code where you simply share one of the URL address, and on behalf of this URL address, anyone can use this Power BI service report, right, without login. So we have this left navigation on Power BI service where you can see we have a home page. If you have some reports and you add the favorites, we can see directly on the home page. How can we use some recent files? How can we create apps on workspaces? If you have some data shared by others, you can see shared by me, right? Same things we can also deployment some pipelines, how to use development, testing, and some of the productions pipelines, all things, right? So this Power BI service, this is one of the way. It's a cloud platform where we can publish report online, and we can also share report and dashboard with some of the business users on their mobiles. So now we have a third tool. This is Power BI mobile. So this Power BI mobile, we can simply use some of the users who want to view the report. So it is available for Android, iOS, and Windows. So we can also share this report some of the users, right, on their mobiles, and they can simply use and see very easily. So this data gateway is one of the tools we require to install and download. So using this data gateway, we can define some of automatic refresh, right? We can define some schedulings. So sometimes if you want to require some reports and you want to require this remote report is automatically updated, so we can host or we can make some these things that are like. So this data gateway is work as a bridge, works as a mediator between your on-prem data, some of the way where we can define some of the import and direct query way. So simply we require this data gateway. This is one of the mediator and one of the bridge between your all the on-prem data as well as your cloud, right? So once we install this Power BI gateway, so once you have some files and you want to require to update automatically or refresh automatically, so for scheduling, if you have a Power BI premium license, so 8 times in a single day we can scheduling automatically refresh, right, on daily basis. And if you have a Power BI premium license, we can use 48 times in a single day, right, for scheduling refreshment. So this thing we can also define. So this gateway generally we can define two types as a standard or organizations and personal gateway. So personal gateway we generally use for once we have a single user, we can use some of the report, right? But when we go for organizations and standard, so we require their multiple users and multiple reports to want to share, right? So these are the this is one of the tools which we can use for Power BI. Now we have a Power BI report server. So this report server, we also hosting some of the paging reports, mobile reports, some of the KPI, right? So it's required like update into every 5 months or like 5 months or 6 months. So some of the users who want to use this Power BI, and we have some platform like as a SSAS, some of the cubes, some of the multi-dimensional data where we have all some predefined aggregations there, right? So once we use this portal as a Power BI report server where we have some reports, some of the data. So how can we define some of the reports with some of the specific users? So we can say each and every organizations have some dedicated server, right? And this dedicated server, they can host all the reports, some of the fetching reports, mobile reports, and this required to update, right? So if you require this update maybe in some month or 4 months or 5 months, generally they can manage by all the admins and other users, super users. So this is one of the way we can use. So just revise all things here, just part of theory. You can see I already explained you each and everything. So Power BI desktop is publishing tool, right, for the your primary report, how to create the report. This is summary of this Power BI service, your cloud platform, where we can say as a software as a service. This is SaaS, right? And you can simply use. So for the pro license, we have a $10 per user per month charges, right? If you go for premium and other things, we have some more capacity and more storage and more charges. If you go for gateway, so this is just make a works as a bridge between the your on-prem data and some of the sources, and we can simply install and require to update, or we also make reports automatically refresh. Server, just we can hosting some of the reports and some of the way, so it's required to update in every 4 months or 6 months depending on the things. Same as we have a Power BI mobile apps. So this mobile apps we can use to view the report. Some of the users can view the report on their mobile, so it's available for Android, iOS and Windows, right? Same as we have a Power BI components. So how can we use this each on every component? So I just give you quick overview here. How can we use this Power Query? This is one of the way where we can cleaning the data, transform the data, identify the data, how to reshape the data, right? So all kind of transformations we can use. So we can see here one by one. So Power Query, this is one of the way where we can identify, cleaning and transform some of the data from the public or local internal data sources, right? So we use Power Query editor and we apply some kind of operations there, maybe replaces value, merge columns, we can delete unwanted columns, unwanted row, right? All things, all kind of transformations, all kind of cleaning, or we can say reshaping of the data we can do using Power Query editor in Power BI desktop. This is the one of the very major component of this Power BI. Second, we have a Power Pivot. So this showing the way how to create relationship between the tables. So all kind of way how to create modeling, how to take data from some of the tables, and how to define some memories. All things we can use for pivot part, right? So all part of relationship and hierarchies we can define here. Power View is showing the data visualizations, right? How can we define some of the representation of data with different visuals, right? So if you have a mapping, we use graphically, we use some globally, right? We can use some of the tables, some of the pie charts, all things. So visualizations part we can define into Power View. And this mapping, you can see this is one of the way where we can use some of the geographical data, right? Maybe longitude, longitude, some of the latitude, some of the way if you require some country, state, right, city. So it comes with some of the geospatial data and some of the informations, and you will find some mapping there. You can set some mapping style there, some of the mapping command you can also define there. Aerial map, like this is a road map, right? Some of the dark map, all things. So we can also define the this power map into Power BI. Same Power BI desktop is again repeat. So this is one of the primary tools for creating report. Same as Power BI service, we already understand the way where we have some cloud platform and we can simply use to share some of the report. This Q&A feature is question and answer, right? So we can use this Q&A options for what? For we can define, simply you will write some question and on behalf of natural language query, natural language processing, automatically scan your data and give you very fast some of the visualizations, right? The Q&A function is very fast and you will find very easily your output, right? And this Power BI mobile apps, this is one of the last component showing how to view the report, right, on the different platform like is Android, Windows, and iOS. So this is the way. Now we go for building block of Power BI. So there are three things: Power BI tools, Power BI component, and Power BI building block, right? Not confused. So building block, the first building block showing is visualizations. This is V, right? So we have a different visualizations. Either we have some scatter chart, line chart, pie chart, card, some of the mapping, right? So this visualizations showing some of the way how can we represent the data. Second building block, we have a data sets. This is my data set. So just showing the detail about all the tables, all the fields, what kind of row we have, what kind of columns we have, right? So all data sets we can define into very easily into this. Then we have a dashboard. So this dashboard is single page canvas, right? We can draw from multiple reports. So this dashboard, we have a no slicer, no filter, and one more we have a this is tiles. This is my one of the building block of Power BI. So this tiles the single visualizations we can say on dashboard. So you can see this is rectangular box. This is my tiles, right? So these tiles we can also represent as a building block of Power BI. And we have a report. So report we can draw from data sets. So always report we have a multiple tab, more than one pages, right? So we can draw report from visualizations pages. So we have a 5 building block. I revise. We have a visualizations, then we have a data sets, then we have a reports, and a dashboard and tiles. These are 5 building block of Power BI. So how Power BI look like? So you can see this during and using Power BI service homepage, where this is my homepage, and we have a this subscribe. You can see initially we have a 60-day free license for Pro, right? And we have this left navigation there where we can see the options, favorite, recent, apps, right, share, respect, all there. So you can see this is what this is report or dashboard. So if you see carefully, this is report because we have a multiple pages here, like 1 2 3 4 5, right? So on this Power BI service, how can we use, how can we create office account, how we can create a report, how can we publish, all things we can define. So finally we have a Power BI architecture. So how can we define this architecture? How can we use the way how to define? You can see simply we have some data. So how to connect with data? We have different sources. We have 100 plus data sources. Maybe we have a server, we have a cloud, we have some of the web sources, right? So when we connect with some of the data sources, first we require to understand the way how can we connect. And once you have some data and you want to require as a extract data, which data you want to require, so we can extract from the here. Maybe you require some of the SQL, some of the Excel file, some of the PDF file, right? Then you will be use their database into some of the your data sets into Power BI desktop, right? So once you have data and you want to create some report on your Power BI desktop, so once you create your report, if you want to publish, we can publish, and it's going to where on Power BI service. So Power BI service is a cloud platform. We can say software as a service, right? And if you want to require automatic refresh your reports, we have a gateway, right? So this is gateway, one of the bridge between your on-prem and cloud. So we can simply use to refresh your reports. And once you have a Power BI service, you create your report and create some dashboard there. If you want to again share your report and dashboard with some of the business users on their mobile and as web layout, so on mobile it's available for Windows, Android, and we can say as a iOS, right? And you also see the web layout. So this is very basic architecture, so we can understand how to prepare. This is data preparations part. We have a data processing part where we can use some ETL, some Power Query, some all things there, transformations. And we have a data visualizations part where we can how to design the report, how to make some dashboard or report, right? And how can we publish and all things. So finally, in this part of uh, module, how can we use all the modules? Like we have 13 modules, right? So each modules, uh, how can connect with each other, and how can we use this Power BI training with practically. So it's showing here. This is my Power BI training flow, right? So you can see first module we have this is data analytics, which is we understand here about all the roles and capabilities, all the basic things about the data, right? Second module we have how to get data. So we understand here how to get data from different platform. We have 80 plus different platform, like is a different data sources, like is a cloud, as a some of the databases, some of the local files, PDF, Excel, whatever, right? So how to get data, we have a module number 2 in Power BI training, right? Then we understand how to clean data, how to transform data, and how to we can say reshape the data. So this is we understand here. This is module number 3, and we use Power Query Editor, and we have a practical lab and how to transform data, how to use some functions. All things we can define here, right? So this is module 3. Then before we going for module 4, we have a modeling part, how to create model, how to create relationship, and how to create hierarchies, all things. Then we define DEX. This is module number 5. So in this text, we find some of the formula language. We create some tables, create some columns, create some measures. So DEX is a data analysis expression, one of the formula language and very powerful language, right? So how to use this text to make some of the calculations to create some measures or tables and columns. And now then we go for module number 7. We have a 6. We have a theory part where we understand some of the performance, how to increase the performance using performance analyzer. And 7 we have a how to create report. So how to create report in practically. So we use all the visualizations, like we use pie charts, some of the graphs, some of the in slicer, all the practical way how to create a report. And once you create a report, how to publish on the Power BI service. So we have a module number 8, how to create a dashboard, right? So how to create dashboard, how to we make some of the report with shareable, some of things. Then we go for some of the reporting part, some of the app part, some of the like how to create paginated report, how to make some advanced analytics, how to create manage workspaces, how to we manage data sets and row level security. So these all 13 modules we have, and we can cover one by one with practical labs and all things. So hope you understand the way uh, when we go for this getting started with Power BI with data analytics part, with very basic part of some of the way how to analyze the data, how to understand Power BI with tools, with BI, with components, with some of the architecture, right? All things. So yeah, if you have any questions, you can ask me.
Thank you very much, sir. Let me take
Thank you.
over.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, for all the people who are still here and have made it till the end, this is the surprise. This is the free gift for you guys. So we have, since we are launching the new DA 100 session for you guys, we are also offering a absolutely free class in which there's a lot we have covered. It's a free class for Microsoft Power BI Data Analyst certification for beginners. You can book your seat right now. It's at k21academy.com /DA10002. You have to go there and register for it right now. You're gonna get a dashboard like this at the, when you scroll down a little over there, you just have to fill your details and say click on yes, save my seat, and then your seat will be saved. Now, why it's a must attend for this session? So you guys, went through all of the things that have been taught by sir till now. You would have an idea about whether this is Power BI is something that interests you or not, whether business and intelligence is something that interests you or not. So this is the time where you actually dig a little deeper. So over here you'll be covering a lot of different things. That is, what is a data analyst role, why and who should learn data analyst. So if you are actually thinking about stepping into the role of a data analyst, these things will be very beneficial for you. How can companies benefit through data analyst, and why there is so much demand of data analysts right now? I think sir mentioned a few points. There are a lot more that is to be covered, and you guys will get a chance to do that at the free class that we are offering. Then there is Power BI as well, desktop service and mobile. That's already covered. The best part about it that's gonna stand out for you is the demo session. You'll be given a live demo in which they'll be displaying live streaming data using Power BI service. You'll also be told about the certification that is there and how you can crack it. That's Microsoft Data Analyst Associate DA100. And there's going to be a hands-on lab where you must perform and learn and clear Microsoft Data Analyst. That means they'll show you what are the different steps in the exam, how you can prepare for it to clear that certification and get a Microsoft certified data analyst associate. And then last but not the least, you'll also get job opportunities and market trends. We are putting in, since you guys have been here and you guys enjoy the session, I see the positive response in the comments as well. Because of that, we'll also give, once you register for it, once you save your seat for this free webinar, we'll also give you guys a few you know a few interview related or some sample questions that we usually provide in our paid program. We'll give you a few of them for absolutely free. We'll send them to your email. So guys, do not miss this chance in any way whatsoever. Go right now and register for this free class at k21academy.com /da10002. Guys, if you guys have any questions for sir, please do put them in the comment section and we'll pick them up one by one. Okay, Neha, you want the recording? It will be available on our social media handles. Primarily, you can watch the entire recording on our YouTube channel as well. That's why I initially said to subscribe to our YouTube channel the moment you guys join, because all majority of the recordings of these sessions will be available over there, so you guys can go and eventually go over there. And Hassan, yes, you will not be provided this free PT, but the entirety of what we have covered will be available over there, so you guys can go and check it out. If you guys have any questions, put them down right now so that I can pick them up while we are at it. Again, guys, for all the people who missed it, we are offering this for absolutely free. You have to go and reserve your free spot right now. Go at k21academy.com /da10002. You guys can see on the left what things we'll be covering. There is a live demo as well, so you guys to have to go there and do it right now. It's absolutely free and it's a must. It's a must attend session for you guys. If you guys have attended this so far, I believe you have a basic understanding of what Power BI is and whether you are interested in this particular tool. I'll call it a revolutionary tool in terms of data analysis and data visualization. So if you guys are interested in it, this is the free class that you should be doing right now. How long is the training and is it every day? The free class is not every day, Neha, but if you are talking about the training that we are offering for DA100, let me clear that doubt of yours again. Give me a second. So it's not a daily training. Usually we do it on maybe weekends or some way, maybe one day of a week, and we cover different modules. It's not a daily program. So we cover daily like modules. There are 13 modules in which we are covering different things, and for every almost every dedicated module, we have a dedicated lab as well. So when we are talking about getting started with Microsoft Data Analytics, we're also giving you a lab for preparing data in Power BI desktop. So we are, we are providing you a lab for getting started that, help you give you a run through to how Power BI is, what's the dashboard like, where you do what is, what are the different functions that are available. And then for second module, let's prepare data in Power BI. So you'll get the lab that's regarding preparing data in Power BI. That means cleaning it, checking whether so sometimes when you look at data, you're going to realize that there's a lot of columns that you necessarily don't need in your analysis. So you take them out. You don't delete them, but you cut them from your data so that they won't affect your results in any way, because those numbers or those things are not really, you don't really need those things. So those are the things that come under preparing data in your Power BI. When there's clean, transform and load data, you already clean or prepare your data in Power BI, then you transform and you load your data in Power BI. Again, there's a dedicated lab for that. Similarly, there are 13 modules, and all of them, almost all of them, have their dedicated labs to them. And once you have done all of this, you are ready to take a Microsoft Certified Data Analyst Associate exam and get yourself become a Microsoft Certified Data Analyst. So these are the different things you get. You get 13 modules, 30 plus lessons. There are 12 hands-on lab, and there are 100 plus exam Q&As. CV prep is also there, and on-job support. On-job support for all the people who are joining us for the first time and do not know what on-job support is. The on-job support is something that, okay, you did the certificate, you did the entire learning program, you get certified, you are in a job, and for that entire 1 year of for from when you got the certification from us, you will be provided on job support, in which if you guys have any doubt at the current role, at the current job that you guys are working at, you guys can come and ask us on a community feature, on our WhatsApp group, on our email portal, and that doubt would be clarified in the matter of few hours. Maximum time is 24 hours, and if it comes down to 24 hours, you will be provided a ticket as well, so you guys can see whether what's the current progress of your query. So that is also that, that's one of my favorite functions of the courses that we provide at K21 Academy. I hope that answers your question, Neha, and my team has given a detailed answer as well. With that said, I believe there are no questions available. So, guys, even if you have, if you're watching this recording later on, you guys can put down your questions in the comment section, so guys, so we can cover them up. With that said, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Karthik sir, for taking the time off. Thank you very much for all the people who have joined us. I hope you enjoyed. My name is Shivanshin Thakur, and from Team K21 Academy, and I'll meet you guys in the next session that we are doing on Thursday for AWS Cloud Practitioner. In the meantime, adios.
Thank you.